In 2011, the Intentist published a book entitled The Search for Intentist Art. This was a collection of interviews of Intentist practitioners. Here is an extract from the interview with artist Lewis Grimmett. To the question, could you tell us a little bit about the role intention plays in your art generally, Lewis says this. It's a great way to develop an existing idea or something to redirect a failing thought process. It usually results in a valuable further dimension to a piece. With poetry, it's particularly important. You have to consider what people can infer of you and what would be too much to ask. When selecting poems for a collection, you'd have to establish the potential for people to decipher intention. Whether or not they will define whether the poem is chosen for its merit or out of my own misguided sentiment. To the question, how important is it to you that interpreters of your artwork consider your intentions, he says this. Well, I'd be disappointed. I think it's the responsibility of the artist to direct the audience towards considering intentionality. Perhaps the photograph will show a particularly private side of someone, so the audience may be drawn to question the relationship between the photographer and the subject. If this is the aim of an artist, as it is mine, and it isn't achieved, I consider the art to have failed in at least one respect. Then finally, to the question, let's focus in on one of your artworks in particular, The Observer. Could you share some of the thoughts behind this work? Lewis says this. This piece is a consolidated version of a larger work, The Observer. The consolidated version is supposed to show a melancholic desperation, with the central poem being what may appear in a book, but the support from the visual elements, including dates, and the second poem scrawled onto the frame, gives more of a background to the poem. It shows a sense of duration, commitment, and hopefully brings the audience to adopt a more empathetic view. It's not just a fleeting four-liner. The Observer itself takes the idea further and describes the development of an unconventional relationship seen through imagery, which is juxtaposed with the more sincere poetry. The main idea of that project was to show that art is misleading. For example, of the poems released alone as a book. If a love poem is written by a stalker, the audience cannot understand the artwork on every level unless they know that it was by a stalker. If you'd like to find out more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also click on our website at www.intentism.com. See you there.